Welcome to the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. I'm Kay Donaldson, the director of the Alabama Bass Trail and the host for this week's podcast. And yes, we've been absent a few weeks here on the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast. It's been a crazy time. We'll get into that in just a little bit. But as you can see, I'm here today, which means I did not win the Powerball lottery over the weekend. So you are stuck with me until that happens. So I do want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank you for your patience and being off for a couple of weeks. I would say off, but we weren't really off. As I mentioned in a couple of the last podcasts that we did, August and September are extremely busy times. Even though we're not doing tournaments, it's kind of like conference mania. Some people refer to it as conference hell, but it is crazy with the amount of conferences and trade shows and things that we do during the months of August and September, on top of registration and all of the things that we have going on. So it has been a crazy, crazy time. I have been to the Alabama County Commissioners Conference, which some of you may be interested as to why I go to that conference, but it does give me an opportunity to visit with the county commissions that work hand in hand with cities and parks and recreations and tourism bureaus who support the Alabama Bass Trail, whether it be by being a host city, whether it be by maintaining a public facility that we use, or getting behind us when we have fights that come up like the slot limit that we had this past year. So it gives me a chance to meet with those individuals. It gives me a chance to thank them for their partnership, whether it be through one of those ways or just that they continue to invest in the roads that lead to their boat ramps or expand parking like's been done in Shelby County. It really does give us an opportunity to meet with them, to say thank you, and to make sure that the Alabama Bass Trail is doing our due diligence in bringing an economic boom to their community. So I had a chance to go there, and then I was at the Alabama Governor's Conference on Tourism for almost the entire time, but for the second year in a row, I contacted COVID at the Governor's Conference. So I will say this year it did not seem as bad. Last year it was really, really bad for 4 days. This time it was bad, but for 6 days. No fever, no chills, but a headache that would just make you want to. You didn't even want to lay your head on the pillow. I had started off with a really bad sore throat, like someone just had a blowtorch in the back of my throat, and then the very terrible headache. And as you can tell, I'm still kind of nasally. So I do have a cough drop close by. I do have my trusty water close by. It's still just all the stuff after COVID. So for 6 days, I actually did not test positive until day 4 of feeling like crap. And so once I tested positive on Thursday, Friday, Saturday was really, really bad. Sunday I tested negative, and then again on Monday I tested negative. So just kind of a crazy time. And then I still have a few more conferences left to go. This week I'll be traveling to Montgomery for the Coosa, Alabama River Improvement Association. Miss Blake Hardwich and her group do a fantastic job. We'll get to hear from the Port Authority as well as Alabama Power, the Corps of Engineers, and other people there. So looking forward to that. And then the next week, I'll be traveling to Gadsden, Alabama to be at the Alabama Mountain Lakes Tourist Association, which is my parent company. It is their annual meeting, and we will get an update from them and be a part of their Peak Awards luncheon as well. Just a big time there, getting to see a lot of my friends in the tourism industry that I don't get to see on a routine basis now that I have segmented myself over into fishing. So, and then I will round out my conference schedule with the American Sport Fish Summit in Key West, Florida. This is a really great conference. You really don't understand how large and how vast the fishing industry is until you're involved with ASA and all of the stuff that they're involved with on a national level. In Washington, being our legislative liaisons there to look at regulations, whether it be through lead weights, whether it be different on the coast, up into the eastern seaboard, and even out west, the different regulations and policies that they work on across the board. So looking forward to being there and seeing several of our partners there as well. It's a great place to share ideas, I'm looking forward to that one. So I have attended two of the five, and I have successfully navigated my way through COVID, which I am extremely excited about. But I will say, for 6 days, this old girl felt like absolute poo. It was just not fun. And everybody that I've talked to has either had someone in their family that had it, or a cousin or someone outside their household that have come into contact with COVID again. And it's crazy to me, the different strands that are out there. So be safe when you're going out. Just take care of yourself. Keep that all your vitamins, your zinc, all the things to help fight off. I mean, we're headed into that season. I mean, if you haven't been outside, it was in the low 60s this morning. Today's high here in Coleman, Alabama is going to be 82 degrees. So we are starting to cool off a little bit, and it is getting the time that it starts to raise its ugly head. So I did get back in the office last week, and I was really hoping to get caught up and get really focused on the championship. But unfortunately, budgets and grants and soliciting support for grants kind of got in the way. I spent the majority of my week last week working on tourism budget, working on the Alabama Bass Trail Tournament Series budget, and then working on support for grants that I have submitted. I work with a lot of the legislators on that, and here locally, and some federally. I've applied for a federal grant. I don't know if I will get that grant. I've talked to several other people that have applied for the same grant. So, but that just took up a whole bunch of my time last week. So, we're getting there. This week is going to be the week. I'm going to get a lot done this week. So I am excited that Mr. Luke Dunkin is going to join me for the majority of this podcast. Luke and I have not gotten to catch up since before registration happened, and I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. So y'all buckle up. It may be a little bit longer podcast than what we typically have here on the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast, but we got a lot to discuss. And Luke's going to bring some topics to the stage, and he's actually going to get a chance to ask me 4 questions that I have not seen before, similar to what Mr. Joe Lucarelli did a couple weeks ago on his podcast. So we're going to talk to Luke about a lot of things that's going on in the industry. And I did record a video about this, but I want to publicly on this podcast talk about Alabama Bass Trail 2026 registration. August 15th. It always happens at August 15th. I'm not sure why 14 years ago we decided that August 15th was going to be the day, because my birthday is August the 12th. Which means I never get to go on vacation on my birthday. I always have to wait until after, or either go before or wait until after my birthday. But August the 15th, 5:30, I was online at 5:15. The chat box was really, really busy. My phone was going off really, really busy. And then we flipped registration at 5:30 on the dot, 5:30. And literally, I called registration in the north at 6 minutes, and then in the south at 9 minutes. And then when we go offline, my IT guy and I were going through and looking at the registrations. And honestly, the last credit card processed at 4:34 a.m. or actually 5:34 a.m. It's the server is on a different time zone. So it's 5:34 a.m., 5:34:34. So just under 5 minutes, we were sold out in both divisions. I think we had 164 pre-registered in the north, and I want to say it was like 156 or 154, 156 pre-registered in the south. So we did have more pre-registrations in each division, so that limited the number of spots that were available when it opened. But in no way, shape, form, or fashion did I think that we would sell out in under 5 minutes. But I also want to say, we hype this up, and we try to let you know the amount of interest and the amount of phone calls and the amount of text and all that as much as we can, without One, feeling like we're being boisterous, but two, I don't want y'all to think that we're doing this out of some false sense of making you want to register early. It is overwhelming for Angela and I to receive these text messages, these Facebook messages, emails, phone calls like we do, and it really starts in May when the schedule is released. But you get about middle July, and it's 15 contacts a day, and some days more than that. But I would say average of 15 contacts, whether it be through text, whether it be through Facebook, whether it be through Instagram, whether it be through email, phone call. We are getting 15 to 20 contacts per day from about July 15th to August 15th. So when we say the interest is there, we're really not just trying to hype that up. That's our job as marketing people to do that, but it is sincere, and we're proud of that. I'm not gonna shy away from being proud that we have that amount of interest in a crazy economy, in a sport that has been ridiculed with negativity over the past 24 months. I'm not gonna be down and distraught about the fact that we've had so much interest. So I'm very thankful for that. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, John, Daniel, Angela, we are overwhelmed and humbled by your confidence in us and the fact that you want to fish the Alabama Bass Trail. We take it very seriously. And from now until the time we kick off on January the 17th, our goal will be to make sure that you have the best experience, and we'll continue that through the 2026 season. I heard from a lot of our team that are not involved in the day-to-day operations, whether it be Frank, Mark, all of them, the live stream team, Darian, Luke, Jason. Jason was online that morning watching it. Daniel was online. John was watching, and they were just blown away. So we really appreciate that. I hope that you understand just how excited we were for that. So thank you so much to everyone who registered. Thank you. Just unbelievable response to the Alabama Bass Trail, and we are so thankful. All right. A couple of things I wanted to talk about. Fishing in the state of Alabama, it seems to be gearing back up. If you look on social media, I know there was a tournament this past weekend at Lake Gunnersville. I think it was the Icon Tournament Trail. I'm not very familiar with it, but I did see that they had a little over 100 boats this past weekend. So that event's going on or has gone on. And there are a lot of big events coming to the state of Alabama over the course of the next 8 weeks. Of course, we've got the NPFL that'll be here at the end of the month on Logan Martin Lake. They'll be going out of Lincoln, I think, weighing in Oxford. You've got the Bass EQ on Wheeler Lake. That's going to be really exciting. It is the week before our championship, so I have a feeling that viewership will be high. If I don't even know if they live stream it, surely they will. So I have a feeling there will be a lot of eyeballs on Wheeler Lake the week of the EQs, and then of course the Alabama Bass Trail Championship on Wheeler Lake in 39 days. 39 days. We're going to give away over $100,000 right there at Wheeler Lake, my former home lake. Looking forward to going back to Wheeler Lake, and I may have to just drive by the old homestead and take a look at it. It had some great neighbors there, and looking forward to being back in Decatur. And my daughter, Emma Martin, is the social media and communications person for Decatur Morgan County Tourism. So looking forward to getting to work with Emma and Don Dukeman and Danielle Gibson and Sharon Holder and Dolores and everyone there at the Decatur Morgan County Convention and Visitors Bureau. And then the week after that, you've got the Toyota owners over in Gunnersville in Scottsboro, on Lake Gunnersville in Scottsboro. Great to see Kendall and all of them coming back from Dynamic Sponsorships to be here in Alabama for their Toyota owners. They've done this event at Wheeler. They've done this event at Pickwick, and it's so good to see it travel around the state of Alabama. So welcome back to the Toyota Owners Tournament at Lake Gunnersville. And then we will round out our year at Wilson Lake on November the 1st at Wilson Lake. There's a lot of anticipation about that tournament, and I know Luke Dunkin is fired up about it as well. I'm sure he'll talk about that a little bit in our little I'm not really going to say podcast, but in our conversation that you're going to get to witness, I'm sure he's going to have something to say about that. But then we're going to send 18 teams over to Lake Hartwell for the Bass Team Championship for a chance to go to the Bassmaster Classic and once again represent the Alabama Bass Trail. Two anglers have done that, Mr. Jordan Wiggins and Mr. Shane Powell. Will we see another Alabama Bass Trail angler go to the Tennessee River up in Knoxville, Tennessee, and represent us in the Bassmaster Classic? Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I like our chances based on the 18 teams that we're sending. I like our chances. Speaking of fishing in the state of Alabama, I want to also talk about an email that I received from the Department of Conservation this week, and I'm sure a lot of other tournament organizers got this same email. I was a little confused by it, and I have not had a chance to talk to Keith Henderson, so I will call and talk with him about this. But most of you know that after tournaments, I always quote you our bait data. And a lot of times we'll put it on social media for you to see and all of that. And it's where we keep up with the number of teams that fish, the number of limits that are caught, the number of people who caught over one fish, the number of 5-pounders, the number of 8-pounders, the total weight, and what the big fish was. And in my experience, we actually wrote our software once we were familiar with the bait data. We wrote our weigh-in software to answer all of these questions. Not everybody has that opportunity, so I'm not saying everyone should do that. I'm just saying that's what we did because we believed in this data. You've heard me say it on this podcast over and over and over that I've encouraged other tournament directors to do this. I think it is the only way for us to give an overall view of how our tournament went on a particular body of water. And we have seen drastic changes in our bait data from year to year, at least from year one to year four. Whether it be the number of spotted bass over largemouth or largemouth over spotted bass. So we will not be sharing that data with the department anymore after 2025. And I want to read you their email, and then I will comment as to what I see the Alabama Bass Trail doing from here on out. And it says, hello, current and past bait contributing members. After 39 years, the Alabama Wildlife and Freshwater Fisheries Division has decided to end the Bass Angler Information Team Program, commonly referred to as BAIT, with the 2025 season being the final year for data collection. This decision is due to changes in tournament bass fishing, advancements in technology, and limitations of bait data in reflecting the current reservoir fisheries characteristics. Additionally, we will suspend our tournament listing website as other platforms have become more effective in advertising tournaments. I don't necessarily disagree with that. The reason I hate to see that go away is it has kept some tournaments booking on top of other tournaments at certain ramps like Jordan, Bonners, some of the smaller venues, Cooter's Pond. And I do think that if everyone used that website, we would have less of that, of two tournaments showing up at the same boat ramp. That's not to say that at Eufaula, we can't do a 25-boat tournament in conjunction with an Alabama Bass Trail tournament. It just keeps a 100-boat tournament on top of a 225-boat tournament at a small body of water that maybe can't do that. So I do hate to see that they're terminating that. I hate to see them terminating the bait report, but I haven't talked to them about this, so I'll keep that until I talk to them. We plan to explore new methods for summarizing tournament data. We thank you for your contributions over the years and encourage you to continue submitting reports through the remainder of 2025 so that we can provide a final summary. Please feel free to reach out with ideas and questions, and that is from Keith Henderson, the Fisheries Development Coordinator at the Wildlife Fisheries Division. So we received that, I want to say it was last Friday, maybe Thursday or Friday that we received that. So I would love for the Alabama Bass Trail to continue to collect that data. It's already written in our software. Our guys are already used to calling fish at the bump sink. We're already used to collecting that. Again, you'll hear Mark and Todd or Mark and Kevin, depending on who's there, say 5 fish, 5 alive, 4 heads, 1 spot, or 4 large, 2, 1 small. You'll hear them say that, and that's what we're doing is collecting that data for the state. And I would like for us to continue to do that. I like to compare year to year myself. So I consider that the Alabama Bass Trail will probably continue to do that. So um, I do look forward to talking to Keith about that. So anyway, that's kind of what I had on my agenda. I have a few more things that Luke's going to chime in about when he gets on here. But right now, we're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsors, pay some bills. And then when you come back, Mr. Luke Dunkin will be here with me on the Alabama Bass Trail podcast. And we'll talk all things Luke Dunkin and the Alabama Bass Trail and really anything else that he has on his mind. I have a feeling he'll want to talk about that team up there in Knoxville. I'm sure there'll be something going on about that. So we'll be back in just a moment on the Alabama Bass Trail podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. Things you let me see. Welcome back to the Alabama Bass Trail podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. And as I promised, the voice of the Alabama Bass Trail, the writer and vocalist to Biloxi Blues. I mean, the lowlifer himself. I mean, how many more names can I? Well, I could probably come up.
Don't put that poll out on the internet.
No, I am not asking for suggestions. Let me be clear here. I am not asking for suggestions for names for Mr. Luke Dunkin. Welcome. It seems like it's been a year since I've seen you.
Man. It's so crazy. My second full season working with the ABT family, the July to October gap or June, excuse me, is a big one. Like it does feel like, man, we don't see each other. You know, we try to stay in touch. You and I talk a good bit, and we keep the ABT group chat going the best we can. But it's weird because we're not talking about tournaments every week, but we're getting closer to being back in action.
You know, we are, and I think we're like 39 days away from the championships. What I added up a while ago, 39 days, which it'll be, I can tell you after I clicked over to the big 5-0 a couple of years ago, it seems like years just go by so fast. It really does go by really fast. But I've sent you a list of things I wanted us to talk about, and I commented about this in the first segment that I recorded prior to you coming on, filling up north and south in 4.5 minutes, dude.
It's incredible. It's incredible, man. And I think that was Jason Duran's guess. I forget what I said. 7 minutes. I can't remember. We filmed a video at ICAST, but it's been a minute. And to me, it's a testament. Can't say enough about our team. Can't say enough about what you do, but our whole ABT family. I mean, it's just a testament to what's going on with the Alabama Bass Trail, because when you look around, a lot of numbers are off. I mean, there are a lot of people trying to figure out in other trails, like, how do we generate more traffic? How do we get folks involved? And you've got a lot of people that argue, is it forward-facing sonar? Is it the cost of living? I mean, there are a lot of factors, right, that go into it probably. But man, the ABT crowd shows up and shows out once again, and it's going to be a heck of a 2026.
It is, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit because I have the fortune of talking with Bass Champs, and I've talked to Wade Middleton at Texas Team, and I've not talked with the Texas Outdoor guy, but I listened to his video talking about the forward-facing sonar. But talking with Bass Champs, they're not set that it's forward-facing sonar. They have some other issues with water levels and stuff in the state of Texas. I do think economy, cost of living, cost of travel and all of that, I think is playing on things right now, on a lot of things, not just not just fishing tournaments, because I've been
Yeah.
out of town a lot in the month of August with different conferences and stuff, and you see more people carrying a cooler with snacks and things in it, and not going out to eat every night and that kind of thing. They still want to go on vacation, but they're curtailing some of the things that they're doing. So I think the economy had a lot to do with it, and I think that's why I was so proud of this time, because the first time we ever sold out in under an hour was in 2020 in the middle of a damn global pandemic, and we sold out
Yeah.
in 25 minutes. And then to see this in an unsteady economy, in the midst of tariffs, in the midst of, layoffs and
A lot
AI
of
affecting
unknowns.
lots of jobs. Yeah, a
Right. Yeah.
lot of
A lot
unknowns.
of unknowns.
To see selling out in 4.5 minutes, I think is just incredible. And it was crazy to watch it that morning, and I'm super excited. And just talking with John and Daniel and their excitement, and Angela, and it was really cool. We had a meeting with a potential sponsor last Friday, and they said Wes Logan had talked to them and said, you need to talk to these people. They sold out in under 5 minutes the other day. So thanks to Wes for, patting us on the back in front of a sponsor. So really excited about what 2025 has in store. And you know, I'm, I just feel like people love team trails too. I think team tournament
Yeah.
fishing, you know, I'm not sure what they're going to do with the BFLs. I know there's a lot of anticipation out there, dude. All you got to do is get on social media, and people are
Yeah.
asking that question over and over and over and over. How are they going to treat forward-facing sonar in the BFLs? And I don't know if they've got an answer yet.
I think you'll see it, in my opinion, and I know nothing. Okay, just what I hear, just like everybody else is hearing it. But I think you'll see something like what they're doing in the Tackle Warehouse Invitationals. That's been the rumor. I think that third of a day kind of thing. I think that's what they're going to go for, from what I'm hearing. Now, does that increase participation? We'll see. The co-angler numbers are that's been one of the things in the fishing industry that's really bugged me the most, just because I was a co-angler for so long. And as a kid, got my start in BFLs. I'd fish team tournaments with my dad, and he would fish boater and I'd fish co-angler. The first year the Redman's ever had co-anglers, I fished that year. Yes, I'm that old. And it was boat on boat draw before then, and this was the first year of it. And when I turned 16, I got to do that in the Bama division. And that was, just a year I won't ever forget. And then obviously got to do it on the FLW tour as well. But there's not as many co-anglers now, and I think there are a lot of factors in that. I've talked about that on low budget a lot. I think so many of the younger guys, like myself, when I was coming up, there weren't a ton of us then, but co-angler was your easiest way in. Well, now, man, with high school fishing and college fishing, like, they don't need to be co-anglers because they're pros. I mean, you got a Trey McKinney lighting it up in the Elite Series that's barely 20. He can't even
Hmm.
buy a beer, can barely buy cigarettes,
Right.
and hasn't been able to vote long.
We're
And
not
and
saying that he does. We're not saying that he does, but he
I mean,
could.
he could.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't sue me.
Yeah.
Allegedly buy
He
a
could.
cigarette. He can buy a cigarette. Or vapes, whatever the kids do now. Nobody smokes anymore, Kay.
No.
Another topic for another day.
Another topic for another day.
But this weekend, just kind of tying this all together, where I think these co-angler numbers are going, and you hear there are a lot of videos out there for people like the doom and gloom of the fishing industry. Oh, it's almost over. We're at the death of it, and we're not. Okay,
Hmm.
my kids have decided this year. Hudson's a senior, Ryder's a freshman, so the Dunkin boys have decided they want to fish some high school tournaments. And so I don't know anything about high school tournaments. Self-admitted. I've got some friends that have done it a little bit, but I've never been around it. That's not my world. Hudson played basketball forever up until last year. Wasn't really his deal. And they came to me about a month ago. They want to fish. So we fished our first one in Tennessee. And I don't fish a lot in Tennessee historically. I live right on the Tennessee Alabama line, but I fish the Tennessee River way more than I fish anything in the actual state of Tennessee. And that's actually what my boys said. Like, we got to fish in Tennessee. Like, dang, we want to go to Alabama. Like, that was the first thing they said. They're like, Dad, we don't fish these lakes. I'm like, I know. We're probably going to get our butts kicked. But anyways, they had 201 boats Saturday at a high school tournament on Kentucky Lake. And man, you look around, and I'm like, we're going to be all right. We're going to be all right.
On the
Like,
opening day of dove season?
Well, it opened here on the
Oh,
first. So they
okay,
had a few
okay.
days. It was the first Saturday that it was open, but yeah, 201 boats, and it was an open Tennessee, the TBN, the Bass Federation up there put it on. Awesome deal. But we had kids, and this was in West Tennessee, so about an hour to the west of me on Kentucky Lake, kind of on the river portion of Kentucky Lake. And we had kids from Kingston, Tennessee, all the way nearly to Virginia. Okay.
Wow.
Around Chickamauga, East Tennessee was well represented, Middle Tennessee, It was crazy. Like they're calling off where these schools are from. And I'm just sitting there going, man. But that being said, I think that has a lot to do with some of these numbers on the co-angler side. There's a lot of factors in some of that. So I hate to see it, man. I really, I hope participation bumps up, and I think everybody's just trying to figure out what the magic potion is. And you know what, Miss K, you've got it apparently. So they're all going to hire you as a consultant.
I don't think that's the case, but it is going to be interesting to see how Bass handles, and anyone else is doing high school tournaments, how they're going to handle forward-facing sonar.
True. I was thinking that after Saturday, I'm
Yeah.
like, how does this go? With
Hmm.
the new rules, how will the opens look next year with the new rules that they came out with for the elites? Will it
Hmm.
be there are 4 tournaments? Will it be one with, one without, one with, one without in each
Hmm.
division? That would be the easiest thing, I would
Hmm.
say. But how will it look at all levels now? It's going to be it's an interesting time in our sport. I feel like I've been saying that since 2019, but I have
I was
because
I
it
was gonna say, because the same thing. I'm thinking the same thing you have. But to me, if it's not interesting, then it's just plain boring. So I'm okay
true.
with all of the stuff. I mean, I hate drama and I hate negativity, and I really hate the things that are going on to question the integrity of the bass fishing industry. That's what I hate more than anything. But I mean, I love the fact that it's still relevant, and I hate to hear people say that it's not relevant, and I hate to see these same people on these same channels doing this same. It is beat to death with the same 42 people that get on there and say the same thing over and over and over.
Yep.
Would you please understand all you're doing is writing them a check? You are not making a difference in the industry by getting on
Totally
TikTok
got it.
and spewing your crap and giving the thumb. You're just writing that guy a check. So
Yep.
come on. I mean, anyway, that's my one soapbox. We'll move on.
I
I mean, I'm
don't.
sure there's going to be a
You
few more.
notice that I shut up because I got on that soapbox on LBL last week. I'm not getting on that
Yeah,
soapbox.
it's
Probably will tonight. I'm
anyway.
doing a live with Darian, so we'll probably get on some soapboxes.
I
But
cannot wait. What time is
yeah,
that? Do I need
7
to?
p.m. tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I need to have my headset all charged up and ready to go. EQs. Opens are over. It's now EQs. We've got one coming up the week before our championship on Wheeler. I still know they've got to go to Champlain. Okay. So Champlain, big body of water. A little bit different time of the year. I don't know that they've ever had. Well, maybe they've had an open up there at this time of the year, but going to
I
be.
think they have. I had Laker Howell on the podcast, and we talked. He said that there's not a lot of research you can do in the fall, and the one that sticks out in the fall for me was the 2001 FLW Tour Championship. Before they started calling the Cup, was going to be there, and 9/11 happened. They were there. They had all practiced and were on the water the day we were attacked and canceled the event. But that one always sticks out to me when you think September Champlain tournaments. I want to think there was a Bassmaster there though. Iaconelli won one. I want to think it was September when it was the top 150 days up there. They used to, they would start in the fall
Mhm.
back then. Like the season was starting to fall a lot of times, and so he won one up there. But yeah, I expect there to be a cancellation day most likely because
Mhm.
I mean the
With
weather's
weather.
changed.
Yeah.
Buddies of mine that live up north right now, I'm seeing their posts on social. They're bundled up. I mean, it's after Labor Days when things start to take a turn up there potentially,
Yeah.
between Labor Day and Halloween, you start getting these fronts that pop up, but they'll catch the snot out of them there
Oh
though.
yeah. I
Fish are
think
going to
so
be,
too.
they're going
I
to be
think,
biting
and
for
they're
sure.
going to be able to use forward facing sonar. So
Yeah.
in that event, and we've got some guys. I mean, Lucas Lindsay won the points in
Yeah, man.
the Division One of the
Lucas.
Opens. You got Fisher came in second in the Division Two of the Opens. Matt Adams, third place. So
Mhm.
you interviewed Matt last year when he
Yeah,
missed
man.
the Elite Series. I talked to Matt the other day. I don't know about the last 2 years, but dude, he has been so dialed.
No, he's a
Like,
fish catcher, man.
yeah,
He's a fish catcher.
won a ABT 100 this year at Gunnersville.
Yep.
Had her, so there's a lot of Alabama. Of course, Laker Howe's going to be in that. Russ Lane trying to get
UNLV. Little Trey. Little
Little
Trey Trey.
Trey. I know. I was going to flip
And,
the page and see Little Trey
yeah.
sitting here in 23rd place
Yeah.
in that Division One Russ Lane. Let's see who else I marked on here. Joey Nania has been in the Opens for a long time. He's actually fished the Bassmaster Classic with a win on the Opens. He's in 28th place. And Tommy Wood in both
Yeah,
divisions,
chill
I
out.
think. I know the
Yeah.
Australian. Is that
Yeah,
right?
the Aussie.
Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Aussie fishes the Alabama Bass Trail 100s and Alabama
The
Bass Trail
South.
South. I'm sorry, South Division.
Yeah.
So
But he
he's
left
in.
it.
He did
He
and went
left.
back
He left to go home.
to
Yeah.
go home. He had to make some money. He said.
And that's what I was going to say. The sacrifice that some of these international anglers, I mean, obviously our American folks sacrifice a ton too. It's
Right.
not an easy life, but to fly back to Australia to live for a couple months to save money so you can come back and finish the Opens. I mean, he told us that. I guess it was at might have been Logan Martin.
Hmm.
I believe might have been his last one that he fished with us.
Hmm.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Souchard
Yeah.
is his
Kyle.
partner. Yeah, the team, the international team, the Canadian Australian connection in the ABT.
Yeah.
But cool to see for Tommy. That's going to be fun to keep up with.
I'm excited for him. And just such a nice guy. I mean, well, him and
Yeah,
Kyle both are just super,
yeah,
super
they're
nice.
great.
But I like that. I don't even know how to pick for Champlain. Like, I can't look at that field and know, but if I was picking Alabama guys, I gotta like my chances with Matt, Trey, and Fisher, and Lucas too, because he just had such a hell of a year. But
Gotta say, like, I think you can't pick against any of our guys at any of them,
yeah,
but Lucas has absolutely been on a roll in those things. And I just
yeah,
think spending time around him at ABTs, he's like Fisher dialed in on the scope thing, but he can do other things as well. But I think Champlain it sets up good for those guys. I don't know how much experience they have up there, but you know, he had not been to a lot of lakes he went to this year.
no. And
Neither.
I actually, when I interviewed him for his AOY title, there, he was actually on Champlain, like he was already, before it went
Yeah.
off limits. So, yeah, I like all of those Alabama guys in those EQs. I don't know if I've asked you this before, and we don't know. They haven't published a full list of who's in it, but I know they're allowing elite anglers
Yeah.
to get in those, and I don't think that we've seen a full list of those. But um, what's your thoughts on that? I'm not crazy about that decision. I'll just be honest.
You know, if I'm one of those guys that gets booted from the elites and I've taken my whole life's journey to get there, I like that. I can go fish three and potentially get in.
Hmm.
Uh, if I'm an EQ guy though that fished four other tournaments to get to this, I'm like, oh, great. Now I got to
Hmm.
fish against these guys that have been there, and there's one
Hmm.
less spot or two less spots, three less spots that we're fighting for now.
Right.
So I kind of see all sides of it. They can cherry pick though, I believe too. And
Hmm.
if they win one, I think they go to the classic. I'm not sure. I don't know if you got to fish
I
all
don't know
three.
about the classic
I'm not sure.
qualifications there.
I think you definitely make the classic by winning an EQ. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure I've read that. And if I'm wrong, Hank Weldon, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I
Comment
don't.
below.
I can't. Yeah, yeah. Like and subscribe. I can't keep up with everything going on. I work for
Me
Two
either.
Trail, and I'm a big high school guy.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to learn the rules for everything, and there are different rules at every tournament. Uh, I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on the elite guys. I do think it is so brutal, and we've seen this, and this is not a shot at anybody. It's harder to make it now than ever before because the average fisherman is just amazing.
Hmm.
Okay. In the opens. And we've seen this with some incredible big names that either left BPT or got bounced from the elites. They ain't sniffed it. Like they
Mm-mm.
ain't got close. And
Mm-mm.
again, that's not a shot because I know Luke Duncan sitting here right now. There's a reason I talk about bass fishing, and I ain't trying to make the elite series. Okay. I know what it takes. And it's a rocky road. But we've seen that with some household names. And man, it's a gauntlet to try to get back in. And financially it's not easy. You're not gonna make a ton of money. Sponsors look at the opens very different than they do the elites for the most part. So, uh, again, kind of mixed. if I'm one of those guys, I dang sure want a chance at 3 instead of 7 to try to get back in.
I agree. I was looking at Stephen Browning's name as when you were saying those names. Um,
Yeah.
what a quality angler, what a quality guy. His son is an absolute fish catcher.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Bo is, I mean, so there are some names on here that I'd be equally scared of just without throwing those other names in, and like
Yeah.
Ben Milliken. And I haven't paid a lot of attention to Ben Milliken in the past, but I
Yeah.
listened to his podcast or his interview that he did the other day on his channel, talking about the forward facing sonar rule and all the things. And so, in his, he was on the board and on the angler review committee or whatever it was. I listened to his take on all that, and I was highly impressed with him. And
Yeah.
I'll be
Oh,
real
yeah.
honest, like, I haven't paid a lot of attention to him, but I was highly impressed with some of the things he said. Not necessarily did I agree with everything he said, but I found myself agreeing to a lot of it, which surprised me. But he gave a lot of credit to the Easton Fothergills, to the Tucker Smiths, to the Trey McKinneys, that I think a lot of the older guys may not have given credit to. Um, so I was impressed with a lot of what he had to say. I'm now a Ben Milliken fan as far as like I like how he looked at it from a business perspective from someone who
Oh,
owns a
yeah.
business in this industry.
Right. Right.
That to me was probably the most shocking to me is listening to his perspective from that standpoint, and then from
Yeah.
an angler standpoint, and from a business standpoint from bass, because I really feel like he sees it from all those other angles.
He
And
does for
which made me, tune in a little closer. I actually really enjoyed listening to that podcast or interview, whatever he called it. So let's talk about Bass's decision on forward facing sonar. I have the list of lakes, and we saw their video. They did the whole coin toss and all the things, which I think is probably the only fair way to do that. And
yeah.
when you've got a lot of people's home lakes are on here, you got some people that could potentially be an elite. Fisher and Aya could potentially be
No doubt.
an elite guy going in at Gunnersville, February 5th through the 8th with no forward facing sonar. Probably will be their highest viewership to date.
Could be for sure because they're going to
Starting
catch
off
them.
your season, yeah, they're going to catch them. Starting off your season at the most popular lake. I don't care what anybody else says from Texas, Lake Fork, whatever. There is no possible way it has the pressure Gunnersville has. And in August, it's kicking out 25, 26-pound stringers.
Yeah, all
So
year.
all year long. So you go to Gunnersville, February 5th through the 8th, prime time to be there. Could be a foot of snow on the ground. We all know that. We fished there. We fished
Yeah,
there
been
February
there,
1st
done
one
that.
time.
Yeah, been there, done that.
Scottsboro, Alabama. I mean, 110, 115 boats, whatever the elites are going to be next year on Scott. Now, who knows what other tournament's going to be there? Because there's got to be another one sometime on Gunnersville. But Gunnersville, February 5th through 8th, no forward facing sonar. Do you like it? Do you not like it?
I love it. I love it. I think it's so I said when all this craziness started, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when it really came to a fevered pitch and everybody's banning it, blah, 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 blah. And I said this to NBFL when they banned it. I wanted every other event. I like the mix. I'm a live scope fan. I like it. Working the Alabama Bass Trail, one of the craziest things that I think Darian and I talk about this a lot is our tournaments aren't dominated by it. They're not. You got 225 teams in each event of the best anglers from Alabama and other states, and we don't see it dominate necessarily. Do we see it get a lot of checks? Absolutely. Does it get wins throughout the year? Yes. But at the same time, when you're out there on the water like we are, it's not all you're seeing everybody doing, So I think this misconception that that's all you got to have. That's all the tournaments get won on now. So you just turn it on and you just led to the promised land, 28 pounds, and you win everything. I just don't think that's not the case, especially with ABT, right? So I think that it has a place for sure, because when you take it away, unfortunately, the general public doesn't have it taken away.
Mm-mm.
And when you go somewhere like a Gunnersville or some of these lakes, like they get impacted by it every single day. These fish don't get a break anymore. People fish 365 days a year. They don't go deer hunting anymore in the fall. There's a large group of people that just fish, and that's
Mm-hmm.
cool to see, but things have changed. So I think you need to be able to use it sometimes. And I think the every other event thing would have been perfect. Now, I will say this. NPFL this year has been a ball. It's been a blast. We've hit the lakes at some cool times, crazy conditions where they've been able to catch them shallow, do different things. But that being said, I'm just not for a ban, period. In the outdoors. I'm not for, unless somebody's shooting bass on the bed with a deer rifle or something stupid. I'm for that kind of ban. Miss K.
Right.
We don't need to like spearfish smallmouth on the bed or something. But yeah, I'm for it. I think for them, yeah, kicking off their year without it is huge for the haters that still watch, even though they say they don't watch that kind of
But they
deal.
still comment.
Yeah. One of
Yeah.
my favorite comments I saw was like, oh my gosh, you just gonna set this up for a red rattle trap fest. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
let's go.
Let's
Do
go.
let's do
Yeah.
that. Let's do a chatterbait and a
Yeah.
trap and a jerkbait, and let's do that.
Yeah.
And it'll still take 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Let's do. It'll still take a lot of weight. So I think I think it was a cool deal. I didn't get to watch the coin flip deal. I was working and I missed it, but I saw so many fans being positive. They're
Mm-hmm.
like, man, that's some of the best content I've seen this year. And I'm like, that's good to see. Like
I think the
that.
transparency of it. I think the
Yeah,
transparency of it, because it wasn't in a back room, boardroom,
for
made a
sure.
decision.
Here's where we're going
Not
with it. Here's where we're going without it.
uninfluenced by sponsors, uninfluenced by
Yeah.
certain anglers. I think it was the transparency of it. It's what everybody liked about it, and I commend Bass for doing it that way. Um,
There
you
was a
know,
lot of buzz around it, though. You
it
know what I mean?
is. It is.
The elite pros were posting funny memes about.
Oh, the Jordan Lee when no forward facing sonar on Gore. That's got to be I mean, I
Right.
watched him win the classic, and to me, that was almost as good. That
It was
video was just,
top
I
notch.
loved it. I
Like
loved
I may
it.
not get a bite, but he's like fist pumping. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
awesome.
I
It was
loved
Jared
it.
in his garage. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
was.
loved it. That was awesome. And I do love that kind of content. I love that the guys are
Yeah.
doing that kind of content. It's, I won't say it's easy to get on here and talk about it, but to me, that kind of content is what the industry needs right now. Is it needs to be
Now,
okay.
amen.
Yeah, and I do commend
Positive
Bass on the
content.
transparency of that, because I think that's what everybody really bought into.
Yeah.
February 12th through the 15th, Lake Martin, Alexander City. We've been there in February. We know there's a bunch of fish caught there. Um,
Is
they're
Kobe
going to
Carter,
have forward.
Chris
He's not
Russell?
in.
Okay.
They're not in this one, but they can have forward facing sonar there. The water's still going to be down. But I mean, we were there around the 20th of this past year, and it got caught on the bank. So it's going to be interesting to see
They're
how.
going to
Oh, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
inevitable
Oh
there.
yeah, yeah.
Not going to be a big weight deal. They'll get hammered in comments. Like, little fish, look at them. Even when
I
I
like I like Easton Fothergill's chance there at Lake Martin. I really
yeah,
do, unless Lucas Lindsay makes it.
yeah. If Lucas makes it, they're in trouble.
Yeah, yeah. I like Lucas if they make it there, but I like Easton on that tournament. Just
Sure.
knowing, yeah, I like that. Then we're going to go to the Bassmaster Classic, a place you know so well up in Knoxville, Tennessee, March 13th through the 15th. It's going to have forward-facing sonar. They qualified with it. They're going to let them have it. I don't really have an opinion on that one. What I need to know about that is, where are the Fat Rascals playing?
So we got a little place picked out there. We had an awesome event there last time, and the same gentleman that owns that place has bought another indoor, very cool warehouse space right next door that he's sent me pictures of, and that's where it doesn't even have a name.
Okay.
I'm going to put a
I
name.
mean, it could just be the Fat Rascals. I mean,
The Fat Rascal headquarters. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, we will be there. Uh, I'm looking forward to Knoxville. You know that Knoxville feels like a home game for me, even though it's 4 hours from the house. Spent a lot of
mhm.
time in Knoxville. That feels like home turf, and it's amazing. Fort Worth was awesome. You were there this year. You've supported me every time I've done one of those, and it's still crazy to me how many people come up to me like, you're doing it in Knoxville, right? Because they weren't in Fort Worth or they didn't to come to Tulsa, but they still remember the one from Knoxville. I had guys at this high school tournament this weekend, as a matter of fact, like, man, I haven't been to the last couple classes, but you're doing your deal in Knoxville, right? So it'll be a good one up there.
Hey, shout out Noah for taking the photos that just like blew the internet up. And I don't think people understand how much fun it was. And
Yeah.
I mean, Tulsa was great. All the other times have been great, but the one in Fort Worth was really, really cool. And Noah brought the camera out and just caught some really cool memories. And so shout out Noah Dickinson for being the OG on the photographer. So, but I knew that's the only question I had about that date. I mean, we're going to be there, Bassmaster Classic, of course. It'll be
I don't
fun.
even care if they're fishing, to be honest.
I
I'll
know
just
we're
go.
going to have to. You need to drop a comment below and let us know if you want Luke to be in our booth at some point so he can sign
I
autographs
definitely
and
will. And
babies
I
and all the
think
things.
there's a rumor that Luke Dunkin may have his own booth at this class. So I've been
Smell
told
you,
that.
Rose. Smell
Yeah.
you.
I don't even know what I'm going to do, but I had a friend of mine that was like, you want a booth? And I'm like, yeah, let's do that. So I'm not sure what we're going to do. Details to follow. It's just September. I don't know.
Well, another thing, drop in the comments. Shannon Wheeler sent me a message over the weekend and says we need an impromptu Fat Rascals meetup. And I mean, I agree with that 100%. I don't know if we can pull that off at the championship or not, but man, we need us a Fat Rascals moment if we can
I
get
agree.
Ben. And I wonder if Ben Ballou would be up for that.
You have to wrangle him up. You never
I
know. He's here
know.
there and everywhere.
It's
Being
crazy.
fishing university.
All right, let's talk about the Tennessee Tom Bigby Waterway. I don't know if I've ever heard of a tournament being held on the Tennessee Tom Bigby. I know Justin Atkins made a reference to it when they came out with the schedule. He
Yeah.
likes that body of water. He likes it that time of the year. It is no forward-facing sonar. Does that help people like a Brock Mosley and a Justin Atkins or
I mean, it does, but that place is such a mud hole that I don't think forward facing is. I fished that area a bunch actually when I was in college. And the funny thing about Justin, he's from Columbus, Mississippi. That's where Justin's from, born and raised. Him and his daddy got a lot of time on that ditch, as he calls it. All the locals call
mm-hmm.
it fishing the ditch. So there's a reason he's choking up on the bat for that one. Is not many of those guys have experience there. Now, Brock will be one to watch. Anybody with river fishing experience will be good there. You know, they had an open there this year. Russ Lane did well in
Mm-hmm.
it. Ray Swindle had a great first day, stubbed his toe on the second day a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a tricky place. There's a lot of locks. You can go as far as you want to go. You might not get back because of barge traffic. It's a lot of water willow, some standing timber, some grass in places, but it is an interesting place. Got a lot of fish in it, always has, but catching big bags is never easy there for sure.
Speaking of locks, I watched a video on TikTok this weekend, and it was when the guys got caught in the lock. Was that at Pickwick that they all got caught in the lock? Denny Brower was leading.
Oh, no, it was Arkansas River.
Was it Arkansas River? Okay. All right. I
Oh,
was thinking
yeah.
this next one, that was why I think the
Arkansas
next one,
River.
Arkansas River, April the 16th through the 19th. Watching that, there was like 10 or 11, and Denny Brower was leading.
Yep.
And Tripp had to get back on the intercom and say, we got guys stuck in the lock. It's 1 pound per minute up to 15, and then their weights are disqualified. So that is we hear that when you go down to Okeechobee and all that, and you go to different ponds or pools or whatever. I just don't know, dude. We don't lock. So the guys going to Pickwick can't lock down to Wilson. Wilson won't be able to lock up to Pickwick. That would just scare me to death, dude. I'm not waiting on a lockmaster. Nope, not doing it.
They're done that. Been there,
Mm-mm.
done that too many times.
And that one will have forward-facing sonar. Not familiar enough to know if that's going to help. I guess it certainly will, but a lot of these are back to
Riverdale.
back.
Yeah, Riverdale. I don't think. I mean, yeah, these guys use forward facing for everything now. They're
Yeah.
like little itch things that they figured out, even shallow. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they don't get talked about a lot. So yeah, they'll utilize it some there, I'm sure. But that place is fun.
Yeah.
It's dangerous. It's
That's what I was
dangerous.
going to say. It
Tear
is a
yourself up.
dangerous body of
So it's
water.
10 time, like the 10 time, like there. This is a river rat schedule for sure this year, this coming.
Maybe I've been under a rock, but Lake Murray, have they been to Lake Murray in a while? I mean, I don't remember if they have. I guess I haven't been following, but
Yep.
I think of Lake Murray and what was the guy said it the other day? I look like him, Jason Quinn. I
Yeah.
forgot sunscreen one day. One day I forget sunscreen and no hat, and I take my glasses off and I look like Jason Quinn. I don't know.
Jason had that tattooed on his face, basically. Shout out
Dude,
Jason Quinn.
that tells
And
you
Jason
how old
Quinn.
I am and how far back in bass fishing. Jason Quinn event down in Greenville, South Carolina, at a bar with Evan Williams Bourbon, and I remember that that's what I looked like on Sunday after I didn't use sunscreen on my face one day. It was so bad.
Yeah. Bass went to Murray last year, and I forget who won that event.
Okay.
Yeah, they went there last season. MLF went there this year. BPT was there this year. So Murray's awesome. Murray,
Yeah,
like
it's a
a
pretty
lot of that. It's a
place.
beautiful
Pretty.
place, cool area. It's got a lot of fish in it.
Santee Cooper, May 14th through the 17th, no forward facing sonar. You know, Santee Cooper went off the map for a while because the grass went away. I remember I had retailers calling me, bait and tackle stores calling me, going, would you come and do a presentation to our people because our fishing has just gone away and we need grass, we need this. I never went over there, but the resurgence and the fishing that we're seeing on Santee Cooper is pretty spectacular right now.
Yeah,
Um,
MPFL was awesome there first week of
mhm,
March. Giant bags. They didn't necessarily catch a lot of fish, and Santee's always been that way. It's just got
mhm,
giants, but the grass is definitely coming back in areas if they leave it alone.
mhm.
That tournament will be the Patrick Walters benefit tournament in May because it'll be a little bit of offshore. Patrick does offshore there really well, and I'm calling it now. Just go ahead and give him a blue trophy at that one. No
Okay.
four star? Yeah.
No forward facing sonar.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll
All
be
right.
fine.
I hate to even try to say this next one, the Pasquotank River.
You nailed it.
Did I? Did I?
Nailed it.
Because
Yeah.
I
Well, I've,
remember I have Gerald's video in my mind,
yeah.
and I was trying not to say what Gerald said about it
Yeah.
because that's the first thing Darian sent it to us and asked us, "Is this what he said?" Pasquotank, June the 11th through the 14th. They were just here this year, so it does have forward facing sonar.
Kyle Welcher won by 45 pounds,
Yes.
45-10, if I remember right.
Yeah. I would say probably he's my favorite going in there with
Yeah.
that.
What time of
So
year is that one, though?
it's
Is it?
June 11th through the
It
14th.
be a different deal. Be a different deal all the way around. But that place has got them. I mean, got them. I think the reason they moved it later in the year, though, is all the elite anglers basically begged to never go there for a spring event where the wind blows ever again.
Oh, it was bad.
There were boats destroyed. Some of the guys that fish MPFL that will remain nameless, they had boats absolutely torched after that because they were coming off of waves and hitting like rebar.
Mm,
Like there was just so many weird things that were happening to guys. But yeah, that place is sketchy to say the
wow.
least for boat rides when the wind blows.
Yeah, I do remember he had a heck of a tournament there. All right. Then they have a break. Of course, we have ICAST and all the things that you have to do between June and August. Lake Champlain, August the 13th through the 16th. I mean, when else are you going to be there? You're going to be up there in the summertime. Still going to be like 79 degrees up there. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
They're going to catch the piss out of them there.
Yeah.
And that is no forward facing sonar
Yeah,
there.
I was gonna say, that one's the interesting one for me, just because forward facing has dominated there the last couple times they've been there, just fishing out in the abyss, chasing those Roman smallmouth, and now they're not going to be able to do that. So I'm hoping because I love the largemouth fishing so much on Champlain,
Hmm.
and it's awesome.
But
I'm
it's
hoping
not talked about a lot because of the smallmouth
yeah,
domination with forward facing.
years, yeah, because when I was coming up, like that's how you won at
Hmm.
Champlain. You went and flipped up largemouth, like
Hmm.
that's you caught them, and the last few years, that's not even. I mean, it's mixed in a little bit, but it's been primarily the forward facing deal. So that one's going to be fun.
So they flipped the coin on this last one. Of course, it's forward facing sonar. St. Lawrence River, August the 27th through the 30th.
Yeah, there were a lot of the guys that were like, "Thank you, Jesus."
But don't you think there were a lot of guys that were, dang it, the Johnstons?
For sure. Oh, for sure. Yeah, it doesn't matter. No, dude,
They
if
know
you think,
every stick. That's one thing that that Bill Milliken Ben Milliken said the other day. It doesn't matter because they know every stick, every stone, every hump,
Yeah, yeah, you're done.
every contour in that body of water. They know it. So
That's what I
going up there
did.
without it really hurts everybody else and really
But them.
gives them gives them a heads up because they already know everything that's in that
They
lake.
were winning. They were winning up there long before they could see their minnow coming past the smallmouth's face. Trust
Right.
me. And they'll just keep
Right.
doing that.
And they'll just
They'll
keep doing that.
just keep
Well,
doing it.
I think a lot of people were happy to see that. And like being said, those guys have a tremendous amount of experience. I think that would be kind of like going to a Coosa River Lake and everybody having to go up against the Mark McKeggs, the Tim Hurst, you know, um, those other dominant guys down there and not having it when they fish down there forever.
Yeah, and you got 2 days to practice to try
Two
to
days.
figure out beat Mark McKegg and Tim Hurst on
And
Logan.
Damian Willis and Tyler Kiker and the Josh and the Pauls and all of those guys that no thank
So
you.
many, so many more.
Right, so many more that we can just keep on talking about. All
Yeah.
right, so I'm like you. I think it will be their highest watch. Gunnersville to me is going to be the most watched event on that whole schedule. I think just because it's no forward facing sonar, I think it's going to be a really fun event, and we're off that day, so we get to watch it. So I'm looking forward to that. Or that week, we don't have a tournament that week. So let's talk a little bit about moving on. I'm gonna skip one that we were going to talk about. We'll talk about that later. Back when NPFL announced that they were going to be a thing, they were going to be a league, you were still at TH Marine, I was running the Alabama Bass Trail. We had a very frank conversation about the ability to have 3 professional series and what it was going to look like. Was there room? Could it happen? Sponsorship was going to now be split. And they struggled the first few years to get sponsors because you just got the same size pie,
Yeah.
no extra pie, and you got to now split it. And I think rightfully so. And I think the owners there, I have not talked to the owners of the NPFL, but I think they would understand that they had to show themselves and prove themselves to,
No
we
doubt
had to
about
do
it.
the same thing.
Nobody's going to
So
hand you something just because you show
nobody
up.
hands you squat diddlem. And I
I think
almost
that
said
happens
something
in the
else, but
fishing. They think that happens in the fishing. Oh, by the way,
does
I'm
not.
fishing tournaments now. I need sponsors. Okay, good. You like to go fishing? We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's not how this world works.
Right.
Guys like the Elite Series don't all of a sudden get handed a suitcase full of money. That's not how things work. So,
Mm.
you got a tournament trail? Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Good. You know what I
You
mean?
and
That's
100 other people.
right.
Yeah.
And so you have to earn it,
Hmm.
and they've worked very hard to earn their spot. There's
Hmm.
no doubt about it.
I agree. And we both had a little bit of reservation about it, but I think with the everything that's happened with forward facing sonar, with the I know there are people who think that the participation levels are down because of the numbers in tournaments. I don't think people have stopped fishing. I think they've just chosen to not fish tournaments or certain kinds of tournaments, pro-co tournaments because forward facing sonar, whatever. But I think they found their niche, and I think that the sponsors have responded, the anglers have responded, and I think you have 3 very different organizations. And my mind has changed a little bit. I think there is room for that. And when you look at the number of people that are in these opens that are wanting to achieve that, I think there is room for 3 leagues.
Well,
It's going to be
I
interesting
agree.
this next year to see their list of anglers. I know. Um,
It's definitely I've gotten some hints on it, and I think it could be another really special year, a really fun year for me because selfishly, a lot of my friends fish this year, so
mhm.
that I don't get to see as much. And I was boots on the ground at all the events. We still got one more to go there at Logan Martin, but yeah, I've been with them since late 2020, and they'll tell you, they wanted to come on the podcast. I think they made the announcement about this thing in like 19 maybe or something, and they were going to start in 21. And my joke, I said it on the podcast, being the smart aleck that I can be. I went, "Oh, you got a tournament trail? So do I." Because they just made a press release. It was like, and
Right.
they wanted to come on the show, and I was like, "What do you have? Like, what do you?" they didn't have a schedule. They didn't have, it's like, what's going to be different about it? Right. Like
Mm-hmm.
what's going to separate you? And then I met him in person. I was like, Brad Fuller in particular, I'm like, you're different, man. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
different. You want this. Like you want this. And he kind of laid out like a long-term plan for me here at my house. And in August of 2020. And I'm like, okay. He's a dreamer.
Mm-hmm.
Like myself, he's a dreamer. And man, it's been a roller coaster. They'll tell you that. I mean, Brad's one of the most honest people I know, and it's been a roller coaster. And the forward facing thing, they started kicking it around last year. And like I said earlier, I was for a split more than I was a band. And I told him that to his face. I told him that on the podcast, and I still tell him that. I'm happy with how things have gone for him, and it was a timing thing. We got a lot of household name anglers wanted to come put their money up this year and mix it up, and it's been an awesome year, man. The viewership has been crazy, and I think without that, you wouldn't see Bass making it and making this change. I
Mm-hmm.
really, that's not a shot at Bass, but it's almost like they let MLF and MPFL be kind of like, hey, you guys
They
go
let
do
them lead.
go do the test for us. And
Mm-hmm.
if you fall on your face, we're probably not going to do anything. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
hang on a second. People
Yeah.
do seem to be enjoying that. And so you're seeing this now. But I think they were smart there are a lot of people that love forward facing. So
Mm-hmm.
they kind of did the mix and the coin flip and everything they did. So it was the best decision for MPFL for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Million percent, million percent. And I was nervous. I thought, is this going to be make or break? Is this it? And man, we got to the first event, the energy, the vibe from the angler, they were just so excited to just not. I started seeing guys not have to worry about that being in play. And G actually said that a couple times publicly. And I know it sounds silly because they've all got forward facing, but
Mm-hmm.
these guys grew up cutting their teeth without it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never been, I shouldn't say I've never been negative towards forward facing, but what I've seen this year is it has definitely cut the learning curve down for some anglers, right?
Mm-hmm.
It definitely has.
Mm-hmm.
These veteran dudes, when you look at what's happening in MPFL point standings, you look at the fisheries we've been to that are these historic fisheries for the most part, some crazy tough conditions, and you see who's risen to the top
Mm-hmm.
in the point after five
Mm-hmm.
events. These dudes with all this experience, that's what bass fishing's kind of always been about, is that
Mm-hmm.
time on water thing, those years of experience. And it's shown me like, all right, well, hang on. There's a point to some of this. Like this does cut down the learning curve for some. All
Mm-hmm.
right. I want to say that because there are some that are exponentially. Gerald and I talked about this last week. There are some, like Gerald's good with live scope. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's better than most average humans at it.
Mm-hmm.
But you have no idea how much better the Patrick Walters, the Eastons, the Trey McKinney, they are. It's hard to fathom how
Mm-hmm.
much better. Bank Shaw over on the BPT side, Hayden Marbett, how good these Fisher and I is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Fisher's fantastic. Like how great they are at forward facing versus everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
It's something. It's
You
something.
know, to me, it is like kind of being a co-angler, and I was a couple of times, and watching the people perform at that level, and me being so novice
Yeah.
to putting, and it is hard for me to even say Gerald in a novice way because he is so good and so like
Yeah.
one of my best friends. But this is what those guys grew up doing, just like Gerald grew up doing, going to the
Exactly.
bank and do that. So
Yes.
when you take, I heard someone say this the other day. I get so sick of them going, time on the water, time on the water, time on the water. I said, they're not saying you need to spend time on the water as if you haven't already. They're saying spend time on the water doing what they do. They're not
Yes.
taking for granted that you've spent 20 years learning how to do this. They've
No.
spent the last 10 learning how to do this or five. And,
Yeah.
so it is different. And, times are different. I say this all the time. I chased Jake Smallwood around this universe playing baseball, gave him every opportunity he could do. But if he wouldn't have got out there and threw a ball every day, if he wouldn't have practiced catching every day, if he wouldn't have stayed in the batting cages swinging every day, I probably wouldn't have done that. And you still got
Mhm.
to go out there 250 days a year and
No
practice this
doubt.
craft. And I think that's what, it's been interesting to me. I've watched some of the NPFL, I've watched some bass, some MLF. Um, and I just think that it has opened up an opportunity for all people to fish on a professional level. I think it has opened up. I think NPFL set their own path, and it's worked for them. And I applaud them for stepping out on that plate. I mean, that's a tough decision. I make those
Yeah,
decisions. It's tough,
that's
and it's
tough.
worked well for them. And it's given all of these other people that below that 50 line in the EQ. I mean, it gives them another place to shoot for. So I think that's great. I mean, I know there are people in the Alabama Bass Trail that want to go fish professionally. We had a lot of guys on that roster this year. So I love the fact that they've got another place once their time is done on the Alabama Bass Trail and go do that. I'm excited about that.
And if you want to just strap them up and go fishing and not worry about, if you're not one of these guys that likes to go shake a minnow, or even if you are, we had, I got to give a lot of credit to a young man, Tyler Williams,
Hmm.
Bassmaster Elite Series. This is his second year. He came and fished with us in MPFL, and he goes, I've told everybody I can catch them without live scope, but I really don't know because I've never fished without it. So he
Yeah.
signed up. I think he only got to end up fishing like 3 events, but he's like, man, I just didn't know if I could
Yeah.
or not. I wanted to kind of prove to myself, and then I look at a guy like a Patrick Walters or a Kyle Welcher. They're 1 and 2 in Angler of the Year right now, with one event to
Hmm.
go. I think 2 points separate, something like that. And I should probably brush up on that for like 2 weeks when I got to talk about it every day. But it's been a while. But those guys I mean, Patrick is in a league of his own on forward face, and I've witnessed
Hmm.
that over his shoulder for years in PFL. It's something to behold.
Hmm.
But Kyle's gotten really dangerous with it as well.
Hmm.
Obviously, Pacific Tank River was a big win, but he's gotten dialed. But now you see them in a forward facing sonar less league, 1 and 2 in Angler of the Year. So that just speaks to what kind of monsters
Hmm.
most of these guys are. Like
Hmm.
that's the point that I've tried to drill home. And you're never going to change a buzzard's mind, as my mom said. You can't win a puke fight with a buzzard. But that's
Right.
what I've said. Is like, I know you're just saying these guys can only catch them with live scope, but you need to understand
Hmm.
they're really good fishermen.
Right.
They understand bass behavior. They understand the time of year where they're at. Like they don't just fall out of the truck into fish because they got live scope necessarily. So yeah, it's been an interesting year, and I had heard bass wasn't going to do anything, so I was honestly surprised. They kept this under wraps pretty good, and that's rare in the fishing world. Normally we all get a hold of it way before it's ever officially announced.
Right. We can all form our opinions. Well, I love it. I think Kyle Welcher is probably one of the most diversified fishermen I've ever watched
Yeah,
because, of course, he came from the Alabama Bass Trail, so I can say that. But I taught with him at ICAST, and he's had a lot of fun this year. I mean, like it's been very eye opening to him. But that's the one thing that I think too is what a lot of people don't see is these guys are fishing both trail. They have to be good at all this fishing, but they also got a business to run too, and a family, and a this and that. That's what amazes me with fishing because it's not like the NFL or the MLB where they got agents and they got all these things.
guaranteed check.
They're doing
Yeah,
that all them. They're doing that all themselves. All right. You mentioned it, NPFL in a couple weeks on Logan Martin. We were there in March, 215 limits, something like that. I still think you're going to see a lot of limits, but what are your predictions for Logan Martin September 25th? Is it 25th?
yeah,
Something like that.
around there. It's the
Yeah.
last week of the month, I think. I've said all year, I think 15 a day, something like that, and that may be pushing it. Logan in a 3 day, does it hold up to the pressure? Does it hold up to 3 days of practice of 100 folks running around? You know, and then 3 full days because we don't have a cut. By Saturday, I feel like you're going to have a lot of locals if it's pretty out there as well. Logan Martin gets a lot of pressure. One of the best lakes in the state, hands down. We know that. I've told the MPFL crew, I'm like, listen, in the spring of the year, this place is fantastic. September in Alabama is grimy. I don't care if you're on Gunnersville. It's
Mm-hmm.
still there was a big tournament in Gunnersville this weekend. I think it took 22 or 23. That's a lot of weight, a lot of places.
Mm-hmm.
That's not in Gunnersville.
Mm-mm.
It gets things in that fall transition kind of get tricky. I do think they might catch them a little better than I originally thought, just because we are having some cooler nights the last couple of weeks earlier than we normally do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the water temperature, like from what I saw on Kentucky Lake, it had fallen a lot
Mm-hmm.
in the last week or so. So that's a big deal for those guys. But I think it's going to come down to current. They gotta have some flow going through there. It'd be pretty difficult. But I think it'll be a good event. Obviously, Lincoln Landing is the place to go out of, and I'm proud that MPFL is going to go out there. And listen, Miss Kate, I get to end the year 3 hours from my house. I feel like I'm doing an ABT. I normally don't get to do that. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I do have to turn around the next week and go to Lake Hartwell for their championship for last year, but I'm not mentally there yet. But then ABT, I get to end the year Wheeler and Wilson. I'll be sleeping in my bed for the last two ABTs this year. That's crazy.
I am looking at that, and I wanted to just bring that up. ABT Championship, Wheeler Lake, the week after the EQ, or week or so after the EQ. It is still the heaviest weighted tournament championship in the Alabama Bass Pro history, 41-41 after 2 days. We've gone to Eufaula. We've gone to Lake Gunnersville. We've gone everywhere. Wheeler Lake, 41-41, strongest 2 day championship in the history of the Alabama Bass Trail. Any thoughts on that? Can that record fall?
Oh, for sure. For sure. When we were there for the 100 last year, the pattern that was going on, and we were later, we were a little bit later, a couple weeks later, weather was a little colder, but some of the things that you saw, I mean, we saw some 20-pound bags that day. I don't think it would be hard at all to see a couple 20 to, 21, 22-pound bags come in 2 days in a row there in a 2 day event. Again, it's weather, it's current, it's so many things on a river system. And Wheeler can throw you a curve every now and then, but Wheeler's alive and well, no doubt about it. And I'm very much looking forward to that one.
I know you are, and I'm going to make you promise you'll come back on the week before and let us talk about who our picks are, because it's a little early to be talking about that, even though I'm sure
Yeah.
you have some in your mind, Mitch Mitchell, Kayla McCollum, and some of those other people like that. But we'll
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit closer to the championship. I have a couple more questions, and I think you have a couple questions for me. Who do you feel like is the most dominant angler right now,
Patrick Walters.
professionally? Patrick Walker.
Patrick Walters. Well, and sorry to Kyle Welcher because he's right there as well. I say this a lot, and it's something I've just got to watch Patrick so much in the last few years. And but when you start digging into stats and all the things that we talk about when you're doing 6 hours of live fishing and you got to come up with something to talk about, he's never finished out of the top 15 in the Bassmaster Angler of the Year standing since his rookie year. Okay. He's got multiple wins, whether it's college opens. He won the college championship on the FLW side. He's made a Forest Wood Cup, multiple Bassmaster Classics, got Elite Series wins. He's got the most wins in MPFL history in our short 5 years. He's fished 4 out of the 5 years. He's got all the trophies. He's the all-time winning money guy there. He does not have an Angler of the Year yet, but he's really close coming into Logan Martin, and I know he's been putting in some time down there. But I think he's way up there. There's several. Obviously, Wheeler, you can't not have that conversation about Jacob. He's insane. It's ridiculous. Trey McKinney right now is up there. Obviously, the kid's he's got a future. Safe to say, that's a safe. But man, Patrick, there's just something about Patrick that I just think 20 years from now, we're going to be having some very serious conversations about him and the debate of who's who on the Mount Rushmore bass fishing. That's a statement, but I'm telling you,
I,
he's
I like
special.
it.
He's special.
Is there an angler that's kind of sitting outside right now that's in this EQ or somewhere else that you think could be the next name that takes over the headlines?
Yeah, there's so many. There's so many. I mean, it's a hometown pick kind of deal, but I sincerely believe Fisher Anaya has what it takes. He's got that support from his mom and dad. They've invested not only financially in him to help him out, obviously when he's in high school, but just emotionally
Hmm.
and that backbone there. And I talked to Ryan this week for a little bit, and he's just so proud that
Hmm.
and Ryan always wanted it, right? Ryan
Hmm.
and G were great friends growing up, and he wanted to be a pro, and then his life kind of took another turn, and so he's so proud of Fisher. But I think Fisher could be one of those. But there are so many. I had to go down to Montevallo, right there, at your favorite school there,
My favorite
and,
school in the world.
and they have. So there's a young man, you've heard me talk about this, but he actually bought my boat from last year that moved here from Hawaii, the island of Kauai, to fish for the Montevallo Falcons. And I went down to take him the boat, and I met several kids on the team a couple weeks ago. They have 88 kids on that team. 88 kids on a college fishing team. Okay, so yeah, the next Easton Fothergill is out there
Hmm.
for sure. It's just hard. It's hard to say. There are so many. I try to keep up. I mean, there's a kid. I say kid. He's not that young. Brody Campbell over on the MLF side. Freak of nature. Okay, I think he won 2 or 3 Toyotas this year. He's been in the mix. He's right there. He barely missed making BPT. I think he's one of those just freaks. And that Bank Shaw is another one. Like just he's not really waiting in the wings. He made BPT. He's going to fish BPT his senior year at University of North Alabama. Okay, next year, like the Nut Brothers. I mean, they're coming.
I
They're
was
coming.
waiting to see if the Nut Brothers were was going to come out of your mouth.
They're coming. These
Yeah.
kids are. There's so many more, and that's why I hate to start naming the
Yeah.
younger guys. There are so many, and there are so many that are just absolute freaks of nature already. Like
Yeah.
they just they can do it all. UNA, there are so many down there on that team. Montevallo is the same way. You get Bethel over there in West Tennessee and various other like there are great fishermen coming up now around every corner. I feel like it just gets harder and harder and harder.
It does. And I love to see the smaller schools because Montevallo is not a big school, 3,500 students.
Oh,
Probably outside of Sanford, I think maybe the highest tuition in the state of Alabama. And to see they have that kind of participation and they've been so successful makes me very proud to be a Montevallo Falcon. Love, love, love that. I got to get your thoughts on Alabama Bass Trail TV this year. And what is going on with our buddy Darian? Every time we turn the TV on, Darian is in a conundrum.
listen, I just Miss K, I don't know why he's here. I don't know. I think maybe him being hired was a Bush Light decision. And they're a sponsor, right? So you have every right to drink Bush Light responsibly there next to the pool at the house or whatever. But if that's how you came to this decision to bring Darian Craig involved uh, with the Alabama Bass Trail, then so be it. But yeah, he's an idiot. And that day, Mark McKeag texted Darian and I about the one you're talking about, Alabama
Yeah.
River. We got on the boat. Well, I don't watch live as we're on. Like I'm just
Yeah.
watching, like whoever I'm covering and
Yeah.
making a plan. And of course, you got everything in your ear for the folks behind the scenes. I can hear the director. I can hear Miss K. There's a lot of chatter that goes on behind the scenes, and then I can hear what we call the program feed, which is whoever's on live at the time. And it may be one of us, it may be all three of us, maybe all four of us.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you never know. And then there's things going on in the background. And Darian gets out of this boat at the Alabama River. He's got a boat driver there. Poor gentleman, Drew, the short straw, got Darian in because he tears up everybody's boats, eats all their snacks, breaks their sunglasses. We've seen this time and time again the last 2 years. But if you could have seen my face, because I was not on camera when that was happening, and I was just hearing it and trying to imagine what was actually happening. And then Darian or maybe Jason screenshot it from the live and sent it to us in our group. And I'm like, what is happening right now? And Darian's in the water. He's like, we got to get back in here. There's a boat back here. And with Darian, it might not have been a tournament boat.
I was waiting on that.
Yeah, most of the time he covers people that don't fish Alabama Bass Trail. There'll be a fella watching a bobber on the end of a dock. He's like, you got a limit yet? He don't know. He don't know.
I just think year three, he's gonna like look at his
He's going
sheet
to figure it out.
and look for the indicator that they're in our tournament. Like he's gonna have it all together year three. I have such high hopes.
Rumor has it that in year 3 he might not need a boat driver.
I heard that. I
Rumor.
heard that.
Rumor is he might be stepping back out into the fishing world. So we
I
shall
heard
see.
that.
Yeah,
I hope,
yeah.
I told him I think that's a great thing. I think that's a great thing.
Well, but does my heart good. I give him a hard time. He's like my little brother. He's one of my best friends, and has been for a long time. And we like our back and forth. I like to give him crap, but he needs to be back fishing because fishing was the first love truly of his life. And that's been the coolest thing working with him on ABT because he's got a lot going on. He's been very successful. We're all so proud of him with the All
Hmm.
Sweet Tea thing. But man, I kind of see the gears turning and I see him lighting up and he's getting excited about bass fishing again. He and I fished together a couple times this year, man. He's all about it. So he and I are working on some things for next year too. So it's 2026 is gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I can see the
Still gonna be an
excitement in
idiot. He's
well,
still
and
gonna
I
be
could,
an idiot.
yeah, he's still gonna be an idiot. Well, I see when Cannon's face lights up when they catch a fish, or there's,
Oh yeah.
so that to me, I think has just got him so lit up. I mean,
For sure. They
yeah,
borrowed my boat for a few days before one of the ABTs. I dropped it off because I had an MPFL I had to fly back for. And he's like sending me selfies in my boat, him and Cannon out there. And I'm like, oh, okay. Uncle Luke's providing the boat today
yeah,
for
yeah.
one of our best friends, Corey Williams. We call him Big C, but he's been replaced. Cannon is the real Big C
Oh
now.
yes, yes,
So we call him Big C. And
good,
love me some Canon. So I look forward to my about 3 times a week. I get a Canon, either FaceTime or phone call. And
that's awesome.
I love, he called me Saturday to sing to me. Still not sure what song we were singing, but it says uke. He calls me and says uke. And then he just starts singing. So
That's awesome.
I love my Canon calls.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, that covers everything on my list. I did not bring up any Go Big Orange or Go Dog. I didn't bring up
Yeah.
any of that. But how are we feeling week 2 into college football season?
Obviously we played two very tough opponents in Syracuse and East Tennessee State. All right. Powerhouses in college football. Okay. All
Yeah.
you haters out there, all right, all you haters, understand. We hung 72 points on one of the toughest teams you could ever play, a big school called East Tennessee State. All right. Uh, that being said, Miss K, I had no clue what this. You never know what any
Mm-mm.
team's going to like going in, but we had kind of an identity last year. We make the college football playoff, we get our butts kicked, and then we had this Nico I'm gonna leave a drama
Mm-hmm.
this year where his daddy's like, y'all ain't paying him enough money, and there's this whole thing, and he ends up at UCLA, and we really truly don't know. We got a couple young kids that I'm a fan of. One's a true freshman, one's a redshirt freshman at quarterback, and then they go and it's basically the first trade in college football history. Joey Aguilar was at UCLA. We get him. We're like, what's going to happen? They're paying him. Is he going to get the starting job? Of course he does. And in the Syracuse game, you saw why. He's
Mm-hmm.
24 years old. He's on his last year eligibility. He's been everywhere. Um, yeah, thanks for that. I will never say this again. Diego Pavia at Vanderbilt, who I'm not a fan of at all. I mean, he's a hard worker, good football player, but he gets on my nerves. He talks too much, and that's coming from a talker. But just shut
I
up
was
sometimes.
fixing to say.
He talks too much about himself all the time. But he fought the NCAA though and said, "Hey, JUCO years
Should
should not
can't not
count towards
count against. Hmm.
eligibility," and he got to come back for a year. Well, Joey Aguilar got to play based on that ruling. Had that not happened, he wouldn't get to play. So they seem like, not to get too deep in the weeds, but like watching this team for as long as I have, Heupel, our coach, they wouldn't turn Nico loose last year to throw the ball. Like it
Hmm.
drove Vols fans crazy. He's like, we did great. We had an amazing defense last year, but he didn't throw it downfield much. It was like these little dump off, like screen passes. It was just weird. And we had a great running back. Dylan Sampson was awesome, but it was just weird. It wasn't like the Hendon year or Joe. He just wouldn't open up the playbook, it seemed like. And game one with Joey against Syracuse, it was like, oh, okay, now everything's in play. He trusts this guy. Now Joey's thrown a lot of interceptions in his career and different things, but I'm pretty pumped. And he's got a really cool story, man. He's been here, there, and everywhere. He quit football for a solid year and went to school to be a fireman. And then he got a call to go to App State. Like he's been everywhere. So his family came to the game this weekend and his grandma, he had like 22 people in the stands from California where he's from, but his mom and his grandmother. And when he ran through the tee, which is, really old tradition there, his grandmother and mom, they were crying. Like, it was just really cool to see. So I think he's a good dude. And if they get beat by 40 by Georgia, I'll probably hate him by Saturday. And I hope his family never comes back, because that's what SEC football's about.
That's
But
what
right
it's
now,
about being a
he's my
Tennessee Vol
quarterback.
fan.
Okay?
Hmm.
He's my quarterback today. But I'll tell this real quick. During the Syracuse game, he did look pretty good. And all my phone just melts on Tennessee Saturdays. And it's my Bama buddies too, talking crap. And then, football season's awesome. Like, I love college football season. We talk about this a lot. And it's just because everybody's just BSing everybody, and it's just fun. So it makes it awesome when you're just fat and old and sitting around, armchair quarterbacking. And my buddies, we went from, man, I don't know, like going into the game. Well, then first couple series, like, dang. Well, then, like, one of my best buds texts, Joey for Heisman. We're going to the Natty. It's happening. Like, like 15 minutes of the game. And then I can't remember what he did. Something stupid. And he goes, never mind. We suck again. We're back. So, Georgia will be tough this week. It's an actual test. We'll see. I'm not confident in our defense that much just yet. We're a really young team too, but it doesn't have the feel of a rebuild year, honestly. Like, they got a little pop to them. So we'll see. And as we've seen already, not to throw salt in the wound, but anybody can get beat on any Saturday. I mean, Florida State, this Kalen DeBoer, I don't know.
I didn't watch a
I
down of
cried.
it.
I was so sad
I
that
bet you were.
Alabama got beat.
I didn't watch, and I didn't watch this past weekend either. I actually have not watched a lot of college football. Just
Yeah, you don't.
I hate social media during this time of
Yeah,
the year because I just am the
yeah, I
fan.
don't.
Love your team. So I don't watch it a lot. I did set out and watch Ole Miss and Kentucky. I sat
That was a
outside and
good.
watched them. That was a great game, I thought.
Yeah,
Um, Teams that I don't care anything about, I don't mind watching. But I'm the
yeah.
same way with Criminal Minds. Like, I am a Criminal Minds. Like, I think I've watched every episode, and I was watching one last night, and I knew what was fixing to happen. I'd turn it. Like, I got so scared, and I'm like, this is a TV show, but I had to turn it. Quick, quick. It was so funny. I was like, you crazy. I was anyway.
It's all football all the time around here this
Yeah,
time of year.
well, I mean, we've watched the Braves. Of course, they are terrible, and
Yeah, it's tough.
so no, we watch players. So that's all. All right, you got some questions for me?
I do. I do.
I hope they're easy because I gave you your questions and I haven't seen my questions, so I'm
To be
kind of a little
fair,
worried.
Miss K, in my normal way I prepare, I didn't even know what questions you were going to ask me.
Oh,
Look at it. I didn't look at it. I've been running like crazy this morning, leading up to this. So I want to know. I got a few questions. The first one is, we'll turn this into a low budget live. What is the hardest thing about your job at the Alabama Basketball? The hardest thing about your that maybe people know, maybe people don't know, besides putting up with us.
I would honestly, I think the transparency part of what we do, because you do have to consider the sponsor's role, the angler's role, the state of Alabama's name on it, even though I'm not a state employee, as most people think I am, I'm not. But then there's so many roles. And I think just being as transparent as possible, which I mentioned a while ago with Baz, I thought that was a good move on their part. But there's also stuff you can't say, I think that's, making sure that you're as transparent as you can be about situations and about, you know, the, credit card processing fees and, standing up in front of our organization last year and saying $31,000 of credit card processing fees we ate last year. That's a major sponsorship for us. So we can't do that this year. So I think finding the balance of transparency and so that the anglers feel like they trust us to make the right decisions. And we don't always make the right decisions, but we try hard. But I think that's probably the hardest thing is just balancing transparency and making sure that that the anglers know that they can trust us and that our sponsors know they can trust us. Our board of directors knows that they can trust us because they only see us every 6 months. So just making sure
Yeah.
that all that.
No, it's tricky. and you wear so many hats, and you do, like you said, a lot of people pulling at you. All right, we see a lot of beautiful boats. Okay, on the ABT,
Mm.
225 boats. We see a lot of beautiful boats. But if you today, you're like, you know what? I'm going to bring right here to the house. I'm going to order me a new Phoenix. I'm fixing to get that bad boy loaded up. What color? What color are we going with, Miss K? Hard hitting question.
I'm going to tell you, Delano Green's black, that midnight black one that he had was
Yes.
beautiful. But I like red and black and some gray, and I'm it's hard not to do a royal blue because that's Alabama Bastro colors, and for years we
Figured
had
that
the
would be
the
what you
Alabama
said.
Bastro colors. Um, hmm. It's either going to be, I'm going to go red and black, a little bit of gray. I like the flake because I like sparkle, so it's got to have
Yeah,
sparkle in it.
a big
Um,
glittery.
yeah, got to have some glitter in it. So yeah, the
Okay.
shinier the better for me, as you
Okay.
can tell by my truck.
Yeah. Well, I thought, well, you can't get a chrome one. You're gonna
No,
have to get a.
you can
You're gonna.
wrap it chrome though.
Yeah, you can.
As
And
as my Blair that wraps all of our stuff says, paint is dead.
yes,
Paint is dead. So
yes, I love it. All right, so a red, black, and gray Phoenix with heated
mhm.
seat.
Heated
That's
seats.
that's
Heated
all we hear about
seats.
from Jason's
That's all we
heated
hear
seat.
about from Jason.
Oh,
Yes, loaded with
they got it
yes.
going on with the heated seats.
I. hmm
All right, if you're fishing an ABT and you're going out and man, you've been practicing all week and then you got the tournament on Saturday, but the fishing's not going really good. So most of the time when that happens for me, which happens a lot when the fishing's not going so good, I like to eat. Okay. What are you putting in the boat, Miss K? Are we going little Debs? Are we going beef jerky? Are you going healthier alternative? Are you making Miss K special sandwich? What's the boat snack for Miss K if you're fishing an ABT?
Oh, it's that I have PTSD from this because my last on the water analyst was Robbie Floyd, and he
Yes.
had to get the most ridiculous snack and make me try it.
Yes.
And Jason brought us those pickled eggs that I think had been on the shelf for four
Yeah.
or 5 years.
I'm
And
not sure.
so I have PTSD from the big pop of pickle and the things that we ate out on the water. So no, I'm not going with anything like that. I'm going to be very reserved. It's going to be a peanut butter cracker, maybe
Yep.
some little cheese cubes, something like that. I'm very basic when it comes to being out on the water with the if I get sick, no, I'm not trying. I'm gonna have a Mountain Dew, gonna have coffee, but I'm not gonna have a lot of coffee. I'm gonna have a Mountain Dew and some water, peanut butter crackers, and maybe some cheese.
Okay.
Basic.
That was
I'm
very
not,
basic,
I'm not bougie when it
but
comes
I
to
get
stuff
it.
like that.
Well, a pack of peanut butter crackers at about 11 o'clock tastes like a filet mignon
It
sometimes on the water.
does.
Like,
It
hey,
does.
just regular old whatever Brant Lance peanut butter and cracker from just some terrible convenience store that has
What
nothing else when you go in
And I
there.
think people don't understand as much as anglers prepare. We have a lot of preparation. I don't as much as y'all because I do have people at my disposal that can go get breakfast or whatever while y'all are out on the water. But I have to prepare because there's a lot of places like at Lake Jordan, there's nothing open
Yeah,
when
on
we
the
go to
way
the
to
boat
Brant.
ramp at
Right.
3:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So you got to prepare the night before, and you know there's a lot of places we go. Prattville, there's not a lot open on our way there. Um, Lake Martin does have that Circle K or whatever it is that's right there, but there's a lot of places that doesn't have anything open, so you have to prepare the
So,
night before.
yeah, most of the time it's not before for me.
Hmm.
I'm bringing it with me from home or making sure I stop somewhere en route to wherever we're going to
Yeah,
make sure when I get up and roll out, it's either already in the boat or in the hotel room ready to go.
yeah.
Um, Darian
My
somehow always finds something open though to get him a biscuit
Well,
somewhere.
that's because he doesn't get there until 5 minutes before we
He's
take
always late.
off. Yeah, yeah. Jax is always open when Darian comes to
Exactly.
the boat ramp.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that leads me to my final question: is what will it take to get Darian fired? That's a perfect segue. Thank you for the softball.
I cannot believe I gave you an opportunity for that. You know,
I have it down right here on
it
my notes. By the way, it's right here.
is it right there on the notes.
It was
You
on the
know,
notes.
um, between the whole Rob Lee, Steve Winslet debacle, and then the getting out of the boat. And, he was basically on death's door last year at Weiss. You were on this door this year at
I'm not
Weiss.
going to Weiss this year. 2026, I'm not going. Neither one of us are. We're doing it remote.
Bless his heart. Yeah, I have to give it to him. I mean, he came and suffered through it with the baby on the way, really close to being delivered,
Yeah.
while we were at Eufaula, I think. So, no, I tell people all the time that don't know Darian's background, and I try to tell them. I was on the phone with someone the other day about Darian. I said, to think he took my daughter to prom, and we did our very first fish attractor build with Darian and Tyler Swindle when they were
Yeah.
fishing at Hayden High School. I remember broadcasting the live of high school fishing. That was the ABT's contribution to high school fishing then, was we broadcast their live, and watching him and Tyler come across the stage, and being at Eufaula when they come across stage, just watching him grow up. And I say this all the time, I'm super proud of him for his business, but his dad and husband and all that, like
Oh,
the
yeah.
friend and the because I be honest with you, and a lot of people don't know this, is I called Gerald a couple times and was like, man, do you think Darian would be interested? Because when he left the industry, it wasn't his favorite thing anymore, and I get that. We get to those points
Yeah.
that we're just
Yeah,
done
he
with it.
was driven another direction. He and I were, obviously stayed in touch through all of it, but it made me sad
Yeah.
for him because even though you're chasing this dream, the y'all sweet tea dream, and he caught it, right? Like he
Mm-hmm.
caught that dream, and that's
Mm-hmm.
really cool. But fishing has been him and his pawpaw. Shout out Big Albert right
Big
here.
Albert. Yep.
Some Big Albert. Go Vols, Albert. Uh, sorry that you lost to FSU, Albert. I love to give Albert a hard time
I
about
bet you love
how,
that. I bet you
oh,
love that.
buddy. Always text Darren and said, say during football, how's Pawpaw doing? Like if they're not, I'm like, well, is he okay? Can I call him? He's like, you don't want that smoke. I
But
love that. But
as big as this industry is, it's very small. Like Darian came into my life very, very, very long time ago. And so, and he took a break. He was my very first camera person, did our very first hype videos. I mean, he was the guy. And he's carried a lot of hats. But I think to see him carry the hat of father and husband has just been the coolest, most meaningful thing for me. And so, I mean, he's done a lot to kind of get the axe, but he also,
but
I
you're
mean,
saying safe.
but
So
he
you're
jumped in
answering the
there when
question,
you
would you
needed him
say?
at
And,
Weiss, and he's jumped in a couple of times when we've needed him. So no,
yeah,
I
but to
love
be
me some Darian.
fair, I mean, you could have just pulled somebody else out of the crowd and got him to do the weigh in, did the same job he did. He don't
Hey,
know.
I don't think people understand how hard that is. 225 teams and
I will.
keeping up with the weights and the points when you get down to those points races and all the things.
It's tough. That is definitely it's my favorite part of what I do for the ABT, to be honest. Like just because, especially after being on the water and you start seeing stories play out there, and it's cool to kind of put the exclamation point on them at the weigh in. But you just feel the emotions, and I've said this before, but you just feel the emotions, good and bad, up there.
Hmm.
And it's I just try to do my best to keep it moving and keep it lighthearted the best I can. And sometimes that's tough to do. Somebody's had a really bad day, or they're in a position where they could have won an angler of the year or whatever. It's tough sometimes, but it's my favorite thing that I get to do.
When I think about Darian was there when Scott Canterbury lost that 5 pounder.
Oh yeah, that was fun. So he's like whispering, like, "Be here right now.
I
This is
want to be
terrible.
anywhere.
I want to
And
be real."
then with the Steve and Rob, and then there's just been so many circumstances that he's been in like that. I wish we had a blooper roll. I really wish we had all of those times that Darian's whispering to us, like, I wish I was anywhere but right here, right now,
Guys,
and those
I'm literally
misses.
where they're trying to throw their top water right now. My boat is on top of.
Well, you were there with Amanda and Buck
Yeah.
when all that unraveled, and it was
Yeah.
like, you're
Yep.
like, I really think we should go to commercial right now. I really want
There's
to get
nothing
out of here.
worse. There's nothing worse, man. Whenever somebody loses one or something happens or partners, get to bickering back and forth and you're there, it is you're just like, all right, well, we're gonna catch you guys later. We'll see you in a bit, Miss K. Please go to break. I'm gonna go somewhere else. Yeah, it's awkward because
Yeah.
as fishermen, you've been there
Oh
and
yeah.
last thing I want to do is go, well, guys, it'll get better. that 5 pounder, you're on Neely Henry and you just lose a 5 pounder. You're like, oh, there'll be another one around the next corner. Like, guess what? No, there's not. No, there's not. You're not going to get another bite like that today, probably. That's brutal, man. That's a brutal thing. And we're just there like, how'd that make you feel? You okay? All right. Back to you, Miss K.
Well, and him being in the golf course and saying, well, we thought some people would be in here. Well, they're not. Just,
Yeah,
it seems like it's landed on Darian all year long.
it has. It
That he's
has.
been in those. But
Yeah.
I mean, he's done some of it to himself by following teams that weren't in the tournament and some other things. But bless his heart. Bless his
Yeah. He's
heart.
not getting fired then. Okay. You
He's
answered my
not
question.
getting fired. I'm sorry. I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry to people out there. Darian's not getting fired. Miss K's backing down off of it. It's okay. She's showing favoritism towards Darian because she's known him for so long. That's fine.
That's
So
it.
many
That's
people that
it.
could do a better job, but you know what? We'll keep him around.
We're going to keep him around. We're going to keep him around. Well, I know you have other things to do, but man, I enjoyed our time. It's good catching
No
up
doubt.
with you. I'm hoping to get down to Logan Martin when y'all are down there. I'm trying
Come on.
to set up some things down there, but it's going to be a fun time. Looking forward to seeing how that all shakes out. A very successful year on the NPFL. So pass that along to your
I will.
compadres down there, Mr. Fat Cat. Let him know I'm keeping an evil eye out there watching y'all. So,
Will. I will
all
let
right.
the skinny cat know.
We'll let Miss Marissa know we're thinking about her. Hope she gets to feeling better, and we will see you in a couple of weeks.
All right. Ready for it.
There you go, guys. Luke Dunkin, the official voice of the Alabama Bass Trail, the vocalist and songwriter of Biloxi Blues, and the lowlifer himself, Mr. Luke Dunkin. We'll be right back with the third segment of the Alabama Bass Trail podcast in just a minute. Y'all stay tuned.
Nobody wants to run out of power when they're on the water. There is a better way. Introducing the Charge Marine Power Management Station from PowerPole that does the work of 3 devices: a traditional battery charger, a charge on the run, and an emergency start system. PowerPole Charge.
Welcome back to the third and final segment of the Alabama Bass Trail podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. Wow. I told you, buckle up because it was going to be a heck of a podcast. I want to thank Luke for coming on. It's been part of his day. I know it's been kind of crazy. Mondays are always crazy. Again, I want to thank everybody who signed up for the 2026 Alabama Bass Trail Tournament Series. I do want to go ahead and start putting this information out there. It will be a little bit different going into this season. You will be receiving an email from us direct from DocuSign. You will have your normal things, your rules acknowledgments, your W-9, and your terms and conditions that you'll have to fill out, but you will already be required to upload some documents. So I want to go ahead and give you those documents that you're going to need to upload. It will be your ID. You will have to show a proof of your boater safety certificate on Alabama license. You have a code on there. If you're from out of state, you will need to be able to verify that you have a boater safety course that you have taken and passed, as well as a copy of your insurance and a copy of your Alabama fishing license. All of that will be able to be uploaded into DocuSign once we send that out to you. Again, that is your copy of your ID, a copy of your Alabama fishing license, a copy of your boater safety course if you're from outside the state of Alabama, and also a copy of your insurance showing the insurance declaration showing you have $100,000 liability. We will send that out to you. We will give you a deadline. If you have not completed it by the deadline, you will not fish an Alabama Bass Trail Tournament. I'm not going to call you 100 times. I'm not going to email you 100 times. I'm not going to text you. You will have a deadline to fill it out, and it will be your responsibility to do so. If you do not do it before the deadline, you will not fish and you will not get a refund. So you must provide that information in order to fish an Alabama Bass Trail Tournament. The deadline to pay your balance is December the 19th by 6 p.m. That is December the 19th. It is a Friday. It is the last day that the Alabama Bass Trail office will be open before the holidays. So you'll want to make sure that you get that payment in. You can declare your alternate and pay your balance, everything by the 19th. So just make sure that you put that date in your mind, and we will be sending out plenty of text and email reminders to let you know that. We are 39 days away from the Alabama Bass Trail Championship on Wheeler Lake. We will be sending out some emails leading up to that. Just a reminder, the Thursday night meeting is mandatory and you must be there. 54 days to the ABT 100 on Wilson Lake. Looking forward to that and wrapping up our season. I do want to also remind you to be watching all of our social media posts. We've got some new cool merchandise that will be hitting the shelves and hitting the airwaves for a Black Friday sale. So make sure that you're tuned into that. You should have seen the Weiss Lake Show this week on FanDuel Sports. If not, there's a couple more re-airs this week, but you can always tune in at Alabama Bass Trail TV, our YouTube channel, and go there and watch all of the shows from this year already that we've gotten up to the Weiss Lake Show. I'm trying to think what's coming up next. Trying to think where we were in May. I know I'm kind of losing my brain's not working. Oh, Eufaula. We were at Lake Eufaula. That'll be our next show. So anyway, just wanted to remind you of that. And before I let you go and before I do any of the thanks and all of that, I do want to recognize Mr. Ben Cole. You guys see him running around. He is with SteadyLink Media. He also works for a company called Skyfire AI. They received the Defense Professional and Technical Service Business of the Year Award in the small market in Huntsville the other day. For those of you who don't know, Ben takes care of our drone throughout the Alabama Bass Trail tournaments, but his company is using drone technology in lots of other businesses as well as defense and well as police work and all kinds of things. So congratulations to Ben and all of the people at Skyfire AI. I tell you all the time, we have some very talented people that work for the Alabama Bass Trail. And so when I get a chance to highlight one of them, I try to do so. Thank you again to Luke Dunkin for coming on the podcast today. It's always fun to catch up with him. And like I said, there's no telling what we might talk about. And we proved that today. Make sure if you haven't already gone over to YouTube and liked Low Budget Live, that you do so because he's got a live coming up with Mr. Darian Craig. So make sure that you tune into that. Until next week, I hope you will get out and enjoy everything that the great outdoors has to offer. The temps are cooling off. My pool is already frigid, so temps are cooling off. The colors are changing. Dove hunting is in full mode. I mean, I've heard the guns firing all day long yesterday when I was outside. So make sure that you get out and enjoy the great outdoors, whether you're in Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi, Georgia, Indiana, wherever you're from, get out and enjoy the great outdoors. Make sure that you hug your mom and them. Love on your kids, love on your fur babies, give them a little extra treat if you get a chance. But until next week, God bless, good fishing, and peace out.
Thanks for listening to the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast. To learn more about the Alabama Bass Trail, make sure and visit alabamabasstrail.org.